Hi, Steve Stahlberg here with pinup number 50, made in Kuala Lumpur, February 2018. As usual, I start with a basic background color that makes sense for the end result, and I start sketching. Normally I'll start sketching on a layer, but in this case, like many other times, I actually forgot. You can see here I forgot to make an extra layer, so what I'm gonna have to do in this case is I'm gonna have to duplicate it, put the background color below in a flat layer, take this layer, make it black and white, first make it grayscale and then do auto contrast is a good way, and then just switch it to multiply. It's just a temporary layer anyway. And I do prefer to not use multiply and to have a transparent layer with just black lines on it, because that leaves your options open later. Here you can see I did just that. Leaves your options open for later, and it's slightly more flexible. You can just grab a portion of the lines and just warp it, liquefy it without thinking about what's happening to the actual white around it, the invisible white part which is around it. But it's not a huge deal. It's not a deal breaker. So yeah, this one is supposed to be a Japanese fox demon. I think you can see the fox face here. I think they're usually female. No, actually, I remember a movie I saw both a male and a female one. But I think they're called kitsune, and I think it's a traditional mythological creature of Japan. Of course, I'm not sure of these details at all. My research consisted of a couple hours browsing online. But I think Naruto was one, or at least inspired by it. Apparently, the more tails the demon has, the older and more powerful it is. Now I'm coloring in the background. I wanted a backlit background, contre-jour, the lighting coming from behind the subject. And standing outside, the sunset was the natural choice for this setting. A mountainous sunset. It's a little generically Asian. I'm not. I don't think it's a specifically Japanese background necessarily, but it's more interesting than having flatter landscapes. Except if you use lakes, if you use water in such a setting like this, that can become very interesting visually. But anyway, this will be my choice for this one. Later you'll see me darkening the background quite a lot, because right now it's a bit bright, and you can't do much with very bright colors. You're confined to certain, especially for a sunset, you're confined to a certain range of saturation and brightness. But if you darken it a bit, then you have more richness that you can apply, which you see a bit. And this one mountain here is lighter towards the top, but all the other mountains, if you see, are going to be like this. You'll notice lighter to the bottom, which comes because there is a slight mist in the valleys, presumably, and that's what usually happens. This one mountain top being lighter at the top is just because it's getting real close to the sun here, and there's a bit of overspill of light in there. Now I'm texturing the mountains a bit, just applying it manually, not using a texture brush yet. Later I will use a texture brush, which I made specifically for another pinup. Can't remember the number now. It was the one where the little fairies are climbing in the tree. So it was a huge tree with lots of tree bark. So I made a special brush, texture brush just for tree bark. Which, if you want to see how I did that, you can try to get hold of that other video somewhere. I have them on Gumroad, I have them on CubeBrush. I don't keep the old videos up on Patreon forever. Actually, I take each one down each month, when each month rolls around and a new month comes up, and I put a new video up, because there have been cases of people just signing up for a few days and just downloading all the videos and then signing off, sometimes even without any credit card money going through, which is kind of not the point of having a Patreon. So, but let me know if you want, if there's a particular video you want, let me know. I'll try to get it to you somehow. Yeah, I blocked in the flat colors here, as you can see. She has this kind of ribbon of cloth floating around her, just to add some interesting shapes again. Adding a touch of magic as well, and a little bit of censorship, because I've had a lot of problems with censorships. I've been I keep forgetting, like there was one image that got taken down from ArtStation even. That's never happened before, but that happened recently. And even though ArtStation, they do allow some nudity, more than Facebook, and I keep forgetting, I put it up on ArtStation, and then I hit that button that says, advertise it also on Facebook. You know, there's a Facebook button, a social media button, and then it goes to Twitter, and then I have a setting on Twitter that says everything goes to Facebook. So without me actually meaning to, sometimes relatively naked pictures end up on Facebook, and this has cost me sometimes. I get banned for like 3 days at a time. That's happened several times. So in the future I want to be a bit more careful. It's easier, it just makes life easier for me. I don't have to think about what I'm doing with a particular image, or where it's going to end up in the long run, and just to cover up the nipples and genitals, that's all. And here you see I'm playing around with the richness. I am reducing the value contrast a lot by making another layer. Actually, I made 2 other layers, one grayscale, and then I put the colors on top of that one, the colors from the original on top of the grayscale layer, and reintroduced the colors by setting that layer to color, and then playing with the grayscale values separately from the saturation, the colors. Makes it easier. You can work with them separately like that, and then I dropped it down on top of the color one, and the result, as you see, is a darker, still high saturation, but darker tones, richer colors. You can see these 2 bottom layers here. You can compare the original colors underneath and the new ones on top. And I added a sun, a new sun that was darker yellow, darker orange, to fit in with the rest of the image. Now I'm adding a cherry blossom tree here, and gotta get that backlit effect, which means I'm going to have to lighten the edges first. First I do it with a normal brush, plain brush, just lighter pink, and then after that I go over it with a color dodge, like this. It does a lot. The trick is not to go over the whole thing with color dodge. You gotta be a little careful with that. It's easy to overdo it. Now I'm adding some more branches. And while I was talking earlier, I also added some low clouds in the valley behind her. If you missed that, you can jump back and have a look. Just detailing the tree here a bit. which you always have to do. After you work out the rougher, larger shapes like that, you have to zoom in and do a bit of work close up, but you don't have to do too much of that. Actually recreating every single leaf is not a good idea. It's gonna kill your mood, it's gonna kill your vibe, it's gonna slow down things, and you may even just get tired of the whole thing and just quit working on it. That's how depressing that can be, especially when you've been working for hours and hours on all those little leaves, and then you zoom out and you find that it kind of didn't look that great. So yeah, it's better to just lump those leaves together in one mass and just work with textured brushes, maybe like in this case, or you can work them even lumpier. You can not use a texture brush, but just use some kind of big simple round brush and just work with a smooth mass instead of, because I actually did hint at separate leaves there, but you can actually work even larger than that, even larger masses. Like if you imagine oil painting and an oil painter using a very large square brush to create trees. You know. Here, of course, I'm doing the backlight effect, the rim light on the body. Starting off by applying it harshly first. I don't want to use airbrush too much, as I've mentioned many times before. With a simple round sharp edged brush here with pressure sensitivity, but very simple brush. And then if I have a problem, I'm not going to go over every pixel with it, but if there's a problem, I will smudge. I have a pretty good smudge brush, a bit of a textured smudge brush, and that's what you'll see me using that later to soften some of the, especially on the fur there, on her tail and on her head. There will be some smudging going on of that white outline, both the inside and the outside edge of that white outline. Here I'm applying some cool colors and some lighter colors to the skin tone, to the basic skin tone. The cool color, the trick is to stay within the same value range as the warm part of it, but to move towards gray. Now you don't have to go into the blue part, you can just move that slider towards the gray, towards the left, and yeah, if you overdo it, it's going to look like blue paint splashed all over, but try to be subtle. Hopefully I am being subtle here. I don't know, we'll see. We'll see in a few moments if I think I might have overdone it here a little bit, but especially since I darkened some of those neutral, cool areas now, they don't look like they're fitting in with the body, but I'm gonna work some more on the body, of course. And working shading on the ribbon here, some backlight there, just like in her ears. Light is coming through from the back and warming up some very warm light coming through, because in the ears, it's because of the blood flow through the ears that they become orangey reddish. On the actual ribbon itself, it is red, so the color coming through will be warmer than the shadow color, for instance. And just finishing off with the rim light. And adding the color dodge, touch of color dodge there, which I forgot to do on the head, so I'm adding that now. And you can even do it, you can do it on anything that is slightly translucent. It wouldn't work very well on metal, not on rim light anyway. Specular hotspots, you can do that on metal. That can give quite a nice metallic look. Now I'm smudging. smudging and smoothing. And the neck needs a little bit of adjustment there. Collarbones. That tendon is a bit weird. It's a J-shaped tendon. I'm gonna have to... yeah, that's it. I'm gonna have to tweak it a bit. The attachment point, the cleidomastoid, attaching to the cleido part of that word, which is the clavicle, the clavicular bone. Sternocleidomastoid. It's attaching to the sternal part of the clavicle. Actually, the other part is visible too of that tendon, the cleido part. Anyway, I'm working on the face now, and I have hidden the sketch, and now I show the sketch briefly just to see where to place the nose. The nose is very simple to do. 3 colors: middle gray, highlight, and 100% black for the actual nostrils. And a little softening of the nose, a darkening of the fur next to the nose as well. This is all stuff you'll see if you want to draw a face of a fox. You have to Google some foxes. Of course, in this case, the lights are, the eyes are alight. The eyes are glowing a little bit, so we have the kind of greenish, similar to what an animal's eyes do in the dark. And I'm using that old illustration that I made. I'm grabbing a layer from it and putting it in here. It's these flower petals, which I thought would go nicely with a cherry blossom tree in the background. Imagining that there are more cherry blossoms all over the place. Later I will tweak that layer a little bit more. But imagining there are a whole bunch of cherry blossom trees, and they're shedding their petals and they're flying around in a slight wind. The same wind that is moving her ribbons, her red ribbon around. And doing some refining of the anatomy here. Notice the cool light here, which I've tweaked now. I think it's a bit better now. Some red bounce light there. This is AO, this is like ambient occlusion. It's not a sharp cast shadow because the main light source is behind her, but it's more like global illumination, GI they call it in 3D graphics, or AO, ambient occlusion. The sky all around her is casting an ambient light, and whatever shadows you get from such ambient light, they call it occlusion, ambient occlusion. And you can look it up and you can use that as reference for when you paint. It's actually quite an important notion in realistic, in painting realistically. Any tight spaces will be darker, basically, is how that works out. So you see underneath the chin here, that space is darker because this head is occluding some of the light from the sky. And the same thing here between the breasts. And I think that's it. You can see I refined the petals a little bit here by erasing some of them, by reshaping the layer and darkening it a little bit by doubling it up. And that's it. I hope you like it. Thanks for your support, and see you next month.